So we have been working on factoring, and we have done greatest common factor, difference of squares, trinomials. We did things that were similar to a quadratic, but not quite, so we had to do substitution. So we have done a wide variety of things with factoring. There are a couple more situations that we might encounter. We have talked about difference of squares, but we haven't reviewed cubes. So there is a sum and difference of cubes. So the cubes formula, if you have a cubed plus b cubed, so two perfect cubes added together, that will factor into a plus b, a squared, minus ab plus b squared. This formula, did Mrs. Keller have you guys memorize this one when you went through it? Do you guys remember? I typically do not make my students memorize this. If you need it, I give it to you. So a test or quiz where you might encounter it, I'd probably just write it on the board and you would have it to you. So you don't have to know the formula itself, you just have to be able to apply it to your problems. Difference of cubes, so that's two perfect cubes subtracted. So that factors into a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. So let's use these two formulas to factor a few things. So if I gave you x cubed minus 27. So I have two perfect cubes, x cubed is a perfect cube, 27 is a perfect cube. It's a subtraction. So that formula I just gave you says it goes to a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. All right. When you're going to use that formula, you have to know what your a and b are. All right, so let's look back at this equation. X to the third, there's really nothing to do there. What to the third power gives you 27? 36. Okay, so that means in my formula, my a is just the variable x. My b is 3. So a minus b would be x minus 3. A squared, so x squared plus a times b, x times 3 is 3x, plus b squared is 9. You could check to see if the second parenthesis factored, but as long as you pull out your greatest common factor before you ever start the problem, this is never going to go any further. That trinomial there would always be a prime one. It wouldn't continue to reduce. Okay. Let's look at another one. X cubed plus 27. Okay, so we really just need to figure out the a and the b. So what to the third would give you 64? And that would just have to have an x with it. And 27 is 3. So in this, my A is 4x and the B is 3. All right. So it factors into, look at your sum of cubes. So the A plus B, 4x plus 3. A squared, what is 4x squared? Minus A times B, all that, plus B squared is 9. You guys try a couple? I'm going to put 2 up here. If we get those, then we'll move on. First one, the A would be your x. Your B, what to the third gives you 64 is 4. So A squared minus AB plus B squared. Whoa. Just random lines.
No, that's actually probably the problem.
Yeah. You know. For whatever reason, this randomly does it when I'm writing on my slate. So it won't be the first time you see me make a random line somewhere. Alright, this one, your A is 2x minus B is 1. You get 4x squared plus 2x plus 1. Good with those? Alright. Let's move on. What if I gave you this problem? Any suggestions? Okay. If you rewrite this, we usually see this with the square first, negative 3x squared minus 4x minus 1. And if you flip it around that way, it might be a little more obvious. We know that when we're doing this, that first term I told you for slip and slide always has to be positive. So because I have a negative 3x squared, the first thing we should do is take out that negative, or a negative 1. Right, so then we can do slip and slide, so the negative is just going to trail along. Multiply to 3 and add to 4. And then we multiply by 3 to begin, so divide by 3. So we get x plus 1, and this would turn into 3x plus 1. So remember, in these, if you need to reorder terms, you are free to do that. What if we use these? So we have x squared minus 8x plus 16. Multiply to 16, add to negative 8. Or you could also write that as 3x times x minus 4 squared, either way. Alright. I think I'm going to skip to this one. Okay, so distribute the x and the 3. All right, so let's try it that way. So if you did that, you get x to the 3rd plus 2x plus 3x squared plus 6. What would I maybe want to do with those? Okay. So when I'm looking, I don't have any like terms. I'm just going to flip this order around. So it's in decreasing order. Do we have a greatest common factor? No. How many terms are there? 4. What's our strategy with 4 terms? So if I did that, I grouped the first 2 and the second 2. We could take an x squared out of this one, and we're left with x plus 3. Plus, take a 2 out of this one, we have x plus 3. All right, pretty similar to how our problem started. What could I do now? When we do grouping, you factor to this point. Your goal is for these parentheses to match, and then you can, we're going to take out that x plus 3, and it leaves us with x squared plus 2. Can anybody think of another way we might have done that problem? With what? You could do a u, and that would work. Mm-hmm. Yep. Or you could do GCF from the very beginning. So really 3 options. If we look at that, there's only 2 terms to start with. What do both of those terms have? So if you take out the greatest common factor, take out the x squared plus 2, you're left with an x plus 3. So same thing we got, just faster. So a lot of times there might be multiple strategies that would work. If you don't see that GCF at the beginning and you multiply it out, you'll still get there in the end. All right. Try to make sure we had a few problems that reviewed all the strategies we've learned so far. Are there any questions? Okay, so this is really the end of factoring for us. What we're going to do to end now, I'm going to go ahead and stop for today. Your homework is a handout on Google Classroom. So I did not do Math Excel today. It's a handout in Google Classroom. You have a lot of time, so you can probably get that handout done and check it. If you still have any on Math Excel, maybe you didn't get your 100%, you missed a question, and you wanted to go back and look at that, you have time to do that as well.